Stan, here we are. I don't know if that's going to work. It's a bit in shadow, isn't it? I'll bring it forward to the camera. Hey, I'll tell you what. Whatever you do, if you're like me of a certain age, excuse me, don't turn the camera around and have the high definition one pointing towards you. Because I've just done this video, nearly 15 minutes of me talking again. I didn't realise I had that many double chins. Or I was that blotchy. I think I'll stick to this one. This is like the TV equivalent video equivalent of like smearing Vaseline on the lens. Right, we start again. I'm not too bothered. I've had a dry run. So first of all, I would like to thank Old Spec. Top fella. He had a spare one of these and he sent me it. Not the rifle. This is my air rifle, Remington target rifle. And he sent me a gun sock, a gun slip. Excellent. This rifle sits in my little gun cabinet. And I don't use it that often, so to have that bit of extra protection on it, fantastic. I actually do go to a range every now and again and have a little pot shot. I've got a little BB thing set up at the end of the garden, enclosed in one of my sheds. But I know you can use them in your own garden, and I've got a decent sized garden, as long as the pellet doesn't leave the boundary. But I've got two little furry chums, and I wouldn't, the guy a couple of doors down, he dink dink, and it was a little pellet trap. That's fair enough, fine. I wouldn't want anything to happen, even though I am Mr. Safe when it comes to things like this. Never had any formal training apart from the army cadets, but I know you don't piss around with firearms. In fact, well, it's not a firearm, is it? You don't pee around with guns, air rifles, or anything like that. Don't point them at anything that you're not willing to pull the trigger on and shoot like a tin can. So, yeah, be very careful, anyone watching. Not that you need my advice, but there you go. Old Spec, top drawer. Thanks very much. Right. Let's get on with this video before I lose the will to live. Wife will be home soon, and that's when I'll have to behave myself. Right, okay, I might just flick that light on. Is it going to be too... Oh, it's too glary, isn't it? But you can see how it sits in, that plaque there. So that's what we're looking at there, the plaque. Now the plaque sits in the display of my, I suppose, more RAF up here than anything else. Take it off its little stand. So you can see that. So that's 274 Squadron, Supero. Now it's got a bit of a burn mark there. It might have been in a mess or a Rafa club area. That's why I got the beret on tonight for a long time. Give it a clean, quite nice, cheap item, 15, 20 quid, something like that. On the back, it says Montague Jeffrey. Reading glasses, God. Look at me, the glasses on. Montague Jeffrey, Gentleman's Outfitters, St Giles Street, Northampton, telephone 1505. That's a really old telephone usage, that, isn't it? So, first off, it says the arrows are in saltire. Now, I think that just means crossing over each other. I think. Supero, the motto of this squadron. Some translations say it says, I overcome, others say above. I think above. Now, it will become clear later on. Why has it got a Queen's crown? Answers on a postcard. I do have my own theories on that, but we'll put it back up there on a drawing pen, because I don't want to put a nail through there, because last time I did that anywhere near an electrical cable, I went straight through it. So obviously with a subject so thingy is this, I haven't got any notes, and I'm just doing it all out the top of my head. So I'll just have a little read here. So 274 Squadron. Numbers 274 Squadron existed briefly in 1980. Do you want me to stand in front of the camera? You have something to look at, won't you? Maybe these glasses. Fucking hell, man. Sorry, swearing. It was alright a couple of years ago, and my eyes just went, and that was it. Right, okay. It existed briefly in 1918 and 1919 as a patrol and bomber squadron, and served in World War II as a fighter squadron. Active till January 1920, then active again August 1940, September 45. As I said there, the squadron badge of the heraldry is 8 arrows in saltire. Now, if anyone knows what saltire means, I don't think it's saltire like in the Scottish flag. So, November 1980, just before the end of the First World War, was intended to fly Vickers Vimy from Raf Seaton Carew. So, this has got a local, where I was today on the banks of the river, north side of the river, where it goes up to the estuary, you're talking, as the crow flies, 6 or 7 miles, that's Seaton Carew, very local to my area. The squadron was cancelled due to the end of World War I. In 1919, it was restarted as number 5 Squadron, formed at Bircham Newton, but then became 274 Squadron again, flying Handley Page V 1500s. It was disbanded in January 1920. In 1940, Hawker Hurricanes for D-Day, and they were also using Spitfire Mark 9Fs, so 1XFs for the defence of Britain. So Queen's Crown, see, that's what gets me about it. My own theory is it's been in a RAF club, RAF club, or a mess, and it's maybe, say if it was in a mess in the 1950s, the Queen's on the throne, you're still in the RAF serving with a load of other fellas. Was it the done thing to put your old squadron crests on the wall? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe because the Queen's on the throne, you put the Queen's crown on? Don't know. So it has got age to it, obviously. So, RAF Seaton Carew. Now there was 2. RAF Seaton Carew 1. I can't see myself. See myself, please. Pass on. Seaton Carew 1, Seaton Carew 2. The Seaton Carew 2, I believe that was called RAF Seaton Snook. I think it was a Royal Naval Air Service base. 2 seconds. Light refreshment time. This is Saturday afternoon. You're allowed to. Saturday evening, really. See, I've got a niche here. Nobody else does this, do they? Nobody else drinks while I'm talking here. I think I'm clever, don't I? Anyway, there is evidence now still. If you go there, it's right near the nuclear power station. There is slipways where these seaplanes would take off from. And I don't know, I have been there. We used to go running there with the rugby club years ago. I don't know how you get away with filming down there because the nuclear police force, whatever they're called, I know they patrol that area. I used to work in a workshop right near there, and they actually pulled up one day and got a lad over to the side of the road for an RD seatbelt on, and they were fully, don't mess with them fellas. So I wouldn't want to be sticking a camera around there. It's literally right next door. But I've read it somewhere and I can't find the evidence. So whether I read it in a book or saw it on a website, whether it's true or not, that T. Lawrence of Arabia, during his time in the RAF, visited or was based there very, very briefly. I know he was involved with researching or developing a fast patrol craft, a fast vessel to rescue crew with a ditch in the water, because he witnessed a ditching and the crew all died. With that in mind, RAF Seaton Carew, on July the 18th, 1918, a de Havilland DH-6 on a training flight entered a spin and crashed into a field, killing both the crew, a Captain Charles David Darby, he was the pilot, and the first class mechanic, E.A. Bannister. So, a bit of history there. Before we go on to the history of the place after, I have to go on my iPad because I wasn't writing all this down. Right, so on the 27th of November 1916, the Zeppelins from Germany raided Britain. A Zeppelin raid on the night of the 27th and 28th of November 1916 targeted the Midlands and the northeast of England. 9 naval airships took part. The bombing was largely ineffective, killing 4. It's not ineffective if you're one of the 4, is it? Injuring 37 and causing £12,482 damage. £2, I wonder what that was. 2 airships were shot down by defending aircraft. L-34 crossed the northeast coast at 23:30 and dropped 13 high explosive bombs at the Elwick Searchlight Battery, again another village just down the road. It missed the battery, destroyed a cowshed and injured 2 cows. More seriously, the L-34 then raided West Hartlepool, 16 high explosive bombs, killing 4 and injuring 11 more, as well as wrecking houses and demolishing a grandstand at West Hartlepool Football Stadium. Second Lieutenant Ian Pyatt of 36 Squadron took off from Seaton Carew Aerodrome in a BE-2C 2738 and chased Zeppelin L-34, which was coned by searchlights across the skies over Hartlepool, and succeeded in shooting it down using incendiary bullets. The airship crashed in flames and fell into the sea about 1,800 yards offshore from the Hough Lighthouse on the Hartlepool Headland. Hartlepool Headland, very historic place, and there is a museum there, the Hough Battery Museum. It was built, I believe, initially to defend against the French, and it was being remodified, modernised as we went through a couple of world wars. Also, was it before this? I've got a book downstairs. I think it was 1916, where the German Navy, the Scarborough raid, they shelled Scarborough, Whitby, and went on to blast the bejesus out of Hartlepool. And I've done a video before, which is now since gone, but I'll have to do another one. It was the only time a naval ship shelled a railway station, I think, or the first time. And it's where the first British soldier was killed on British soil, I believe. I'll have to do a proper video on it, but it's an interesting place. Playing rugby there, because they're Hartlepool Old Boys, Boys Brigade Old Boys, they play literally, there's the pitch, if you kick the ball too hard it'll go in the sea. Imagine that in the middle of January in your shorts. Yeah, no fun at all. Anyway, back to Militaria. The wreckage burning in the water for some time, so I would imagine the wreckage might still be there. Second Lieutenant Pyatt was awarded a Distinguished Service Order for his actions, and a plaque on the entrance of the gate of Seaton Park commemorates the event. Never seen that. That's one to do. All the Zeppelin crew were killed. 2 bodies were later washed up, but identification proved impossible. They were buried with military honours in Seaton Carew Cemetery. Well, there's another one I'm going to have a look at and a video for the future. L-34, which had set off from Nordholz in Germany, was captained by Max Dietrich, the uncle of the singer and actress Marlene Dietrich. Another member of the crew was Hermann Pfeffal, the father of 2 small children. So there you go. I didn't know that. There is a mansion or hall, as we know. Well, if you don't know, Britain after the First World War, it was to do with death duties, and a lot of people, obviously a lot of the sons of these people who inherit these places died. A lot of halls and mansions were demolished around here. Immediately around here, I can think of 3. At least one of them was used to house Italian prisoners of war in the Second World War, just up the road. That's gone. All these places are gone. I remember reading about the one, which is literally, if I looked out that window, it was still there to see it. That's how close it is. And the girl who lived there with a family, and I think they were Hartlepool shipping magnates, something like that. She looked out of the tower room window and watching the Zeppelins bombing the area. So that ties in with that story, doesn't it? So that's very interesting. So, notes that we're not really looking at. So, it became a radar station in World War II. So, and then in the 1950s, it was renamed in 1945 RAF Billingham. And then in 1950 it became RAF Seaton Snook again. So it became part of the ROTO. This cat, it sits on me like a parrot. Honestly, that's not, you can't stage that, can you? As long as it doesn't dig its claws in, but let's have to carry on, cat or no cat. So I'm not sure what ROTOR stands for. She's absolutely doing my head in. Please, will you just get off me? This isn't professional. Just stay there. We'll finish off. We're nearly done. ROTOR radar. It was removed in the mid-50s. In 1958, thank you. Okay, no. 1958, the base was still required for the plan ahead reorganisation. Unknown date. It was disposed of. Late 1970s, Able UK bought it. The bunker was flooded. They pumped it out and they used it for the storage of demolition explosives. Now, Able UK are a big company that demolish stuff, basically. So you can understand why they do that. So that's me plaque there. What I will say about it is that in the 19s, trying to keep away from my cat jumping on me again. In the 1970s, my father, who was a welder by trade, he worked on Brenda Road, which is just literally, it had gone past the perimeter fence of RAF Seaton Carew. And he said him and his mates, or one of his mates, had said, oh, if we nick out the night, in the 1970s, I think people just did what they like at work, didn't they? I found a door into the ground. So he always said to me, we went in this place, and it was like something out of a film. Big map, telephones, like a map table, like a control room. I didn't disbelieve him, but he said it was all abandoned. And years later, sort of probably 1990, maybe later, this place now, I don't know if it's still owned by Able UK, it's a landfill. Seaton Meadows, I think it's called. But I remember seeing a staircase sticking out the ground, literally a concrete staircase with nothing around it, and a door swinging, an old door. So that's the remnants as they were digging around underneath the ground. So my old dad was right. So that goes up there above the poster. I've got a CJ, and I'm setting up quite a nicely themed RAF themed room up here, I suppose. And I think it's quite poignant that it should be an RAF thing. I do occasionally look out and see aircraft flying over and get the old binoculars on it. Obviously I've got other stuff up here, but that's just lack of room, lack of space. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Me talking for 15 minutes again. That's the last video for the weekend. 4's enough, innit? Is it 4 or 5? I never remember myself. So that's my RAF Plaque. That's my little mate, the parrot cat. And I want to try and have a couple of light refreshments before my wife comes home and starts giving me orders. So this is Stan. I will see you.